At my wedding, my sister poured wine on my dress and said, "Guess you finally earned a spotlight." My mom laughed. "She's just joking." I just kicked her out. That night, I cut off the shared payments. At 8:40 a.m. the bank alert hit. Her student account was closed. Then Mom's call came in, shaking with panic. I knew my sister was going to do something. I just didn't know when. Or how far she'd go. Brittany has always been the kind of person who needed to be the center of everything, even if it meant burning everything around her just to be noticed. Growing up, I got used to it. Birthdays, graduations, even funerals, somehow she made it about her. But I genuinely believed for once she might back off on the one day that wasn't about her. My wedding. The morning of the ceremony, she was unusually quiet. No snide comments, no fake helpfulness. Just a forced smile and a quick hug that felt like someone placing a bet and waiting to collect. The ceremony went off like a dream. I remember standing across from James, hearing his vows and thinking I finally made it to this moment. Brittany was in the front row, watching, clapping, smiling just enough to keep people from noticing the tension between us. If only she'd stayed in her seat. The reception was gorgeous. Golden hour lighting, soft jazz playing, and people actually enjoying themselves. I was mid-laugh, chatting with my college roommate when I felt something cold splash down my back. It was wine. Red. I turned around and saw her standing there with the glass tilted and a smug look on her face. "Guess you finally earned a spotlight." The entire garden went silent. You could hear the wind brushing through the trees. I stared at her, then looked down at my dress. My custom-made, hand-stitched pale ivory silk gown. A deep crimson stain bled down the lace. My mother's voice cut through the quiet like a knife. "She's just joking." And then she laughed. My own mother laughed. That's when something in me flipped. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just walked up to Brittany, looked her dead in the eye and said, "You're done. Get out." She blinked, clearly surprised I wasn't playing along. I told her again. "Leave." My mom stood up, saying something about not making a scene. I told her she could leave too. No one was stopping her. And then the slap happened. My grandmother, my sweet, quiet Nana who bakes apple pies and still writes handwritten Christmas cards, stood up, walked over to Brittany and slapped her. Hard. It echoed. People gasped. Brittany stepped back like she'd been punched. "You're a disgrace," Nana said. So. Then she turned and sat back down. My stepdad stood off to the side, just watching, not saying a word. He looked like he didn't know whose side to be on. Everyone else. They knew. Brittany stormed off, knocking a tray of champagne over as she left. She didn't even look back. My mom followed her, whispering something frantically as they disappeared around the corner. Guests slowly started talking again. The music came back on. A few people tried to joke about it, but everyone could tell something had shifted. The rest of the night felt strange, like everyone was waiting for the other shoe to drop. It did. When James and I got back to the hotel suite, I sat down and pulled up the banking app. I'd been covering Brittany's rent through a shared account since she started school. Helped with her tuition, her car insurance, even her grocery deliveries. Because Mom always said she was struggling. Because Brittany said she was trying. That night, I cut every connection. I froze the shared card. Canceled the auto payments. Closed her student expense account. The next morning at exactly 8:40 a.m., my phone buzzed with an alert. Her student account was officially closed. At 8:43 my phone lit up again. It was my mom. He was panicking. "What did you do to your sister? She's stranded. She can't get into her dorm. Her bank cards declined." I didn't yell. I didn't explain. I just said, "Actions have consequences." And that was the beginning. She thought ruining my wedding dress was a funny power move. She had no idea what I had planned for her next. By noon the day after the wedding, Brittany's crisis had officially gone public. She blew up our family group chat like it was breaking news. Screenshot after screenshot, her student account login screen showing access denied, a blurry photo of her meal card being declined at the campus cafe, and a full-on selfie of her sitting outside her dorm with her duffel bag in the background and a caption that said, "I'm literally locked out and starving. My sister thinks this is funny." And people, they were confused at first. My mom jumped in immediately, typing in all caps that I'd frozen Brittany's accounts out of revenge. But my dad's side of the family, who never really bought into Mom's protect Brittany at all costs mindset, started asking questions. That's when I posted a single picture in the chat. No caption. Just the wedding dress, ruined, laid across the hotel bathroom floor, the wine stain blooming across it like blood. Changed the tone fast. My cousin Rachel commented, "Wait, was that on purpose?" And then people started talking. I didn't even need to explain. A few guests had already posted clips from the wedding online. You could hear it clearly. The splash. Brittany saying, "Guess you finally earned a spotlight." The way no one laughed. And then the slap from Nana. That moment was already floating around Instagram under someone's story titled, "Family Drama at the Wedding of the Year." Brittany tried damage control in the comments. Said it was a misunderstanding. A joke. Said I always took things too seriously. That's when people started turning on her. I stayed silent. I wanted her to feel it, not my anger but the absence of my help. By 3 p.m. I got a message from Marcus, James's cousin. He works in finance and had flagged something weird. A few weeks back, Brittany had submitted an application for a private loan to finish her last semester of school, and listed me as a co-signer. Without telling me. I didn't even know about it. She forged my information. Marcus had seen my name pop up and wanted to make sure I was aware before it processed. I called the bank immediately, flagged the application as unauthorized and locked my credit just in case. The funny part? He thought she had leverage. She thought I'd never cut her off because she tied me into her finances. He was wrong. That evening my phone rang from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again. On the third try I answered. It was her. He was crying. Real crying this time, the kind I hadn't heard since we were kids. She asked what she was supposed to do. Said she had nowhere to stay, her food card didn't work. And now she was getting notices about her tuition being flagged for non-payment. He said she was sorry. That she didn't mean to ruin my dress. That it just slipped. I didn't yell. I just told her the truth that nothing slipped. She'd been doing this kind of thing for years. The only difference now was I'd finally stopped cleaning it up. There was silence. Then she asked if I was seriously going to let her get evicted. I told her I wasn't letting anything happen. She was just living with the consequences of everything she'd built. After I hung up, James and I went to dinner with Nana. She didn't ask about the drama. Just ordered her tea, took one look at me and said, "Some people only understand how much you've given them when you take it away." That night I got an email from Brittany's landlord. He said her rent payment had bounced and he'd tried reaching her, but she wasn't responding. She had 5 days to resolve it before formal eviction proceedings would begin. I didn't reply. I let the clock start. Then the next hit came. Her car insurance payment, which had been on auto draft from my old joint account with her, bounced too. The policy was suspended. She wouldn't find out until the next morning when she tried to drive and found her app locked and her roadside assistance gone. Within 48 hours her life, the one I'd been funding behind the scenes for over 4 years, started to collapse. I was done cleaning up her messes. And for once she had to face what that actually meant. By the third day Brittany had gone quiet online. The post stopped. No more group chat rants, no more dramatic selfies. But silence from her never meant peace. It meant she was regrouping. Plotting something. She wasn't the type to retreat unless she had a plan. I wasn't wrong. That morning I woke up to 3 missed calls from unfamiliar numbers. I didn't call back. But one of them left a voicemail. It was her landlord. He sounded exhausted. Said Brittany hadn't responded to any notices, and when he tried knocking, someone screamed from inside the apartment that they were being legally harassed. He said he hated to escalate it, but he was starting the formal eviction process. She had 2 days. He wanted to give me a heads up, since I used to be the emergency contact on file. Used to be. Then came the messages from cousins. Brittany was trying to crash with anyone. My cousin Danny said she'd gotten a long paragraph about how she needed a place to stay until things blew over, and that family should stick together. Danny ignored it. Brittany sent it again. Then started guilt-tripping, said it was inhumane not to help someone in their own family. No one offered her a couch. No one even answered her 4th message. Turns out when people stop believing you're the victim it gets a lot harder to manipulate them. By midday Brittany had made it to our mom's house. She posted an old photo of the 2 of them with a caption like, "At least one person in this family hasn't turned her back on me." I saw it. I didn't react. Then Mom started up again, texting me things like, "You've made your point. Enough now. And what are you trying to prove?" And my favorite, "You're becoming just as cruel as you always said she was." I didn't answer. I knew she wasn't trying to help Brittany. He was trying to maintain control. She never handled chaos well, and now the house she spent years defending was finally on fire. But the worst part was what happened that evening. James called me from work. His voice was clipped low. He said she showed up. Thought he meant a call. A message. But no. Brittany showed up at his job. In person. Stood outside the front entrance during his lunch hour, makeup smudged, holding a to-go coffee and pretending she was just in the area. His co-workers were confused, they didn't know her. He had to pull her aside and tell her directly, this wasn't okay. He said she looked stunned, like it never occurred to her that he might be done with her too. Then she got defensive and started raising her voice, asking why he was being so cold, why he wouldn't talk some sense into me. A manager came outside and asked if everything was alright. That's when she finally left. Not even an hour later she texted me. She said James had humiliated her, that he owed her an apology, and that I was letting my husband turn me against my own blood. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I blocked her number. She switched to emailing me. I blocked that too. At dinner, James sat across from me and said, "She's spiraling. If she keeps pushing people, she's going to hit the ground hard." She already was. The next day, her insurance company sent an alert to the email we still shared access to from when I helped her sign up years ago. Her auto policy was officially canceled, but they'd given her a 2-day grace period and she missed it. She no longer had coverage, or a way to legally drive her car. Then Evan, Brittany's ex, messaged me out of nowhere. We hadn't talked in years, but he'd seen the wedding mess on social media and felt like I deserved to know something. Back when they dated, Brittany had borrowed $600 from him. Told him it was for books, tuition, something academic. She never paid it back. Claimed her accounts were frozen, so she asked him to send the money through my Venmo. And he did. I looked it up. The charge was there. 2 years ago. She had used my name to borrow money from her boyfriend. She never mentioned it. I'd never even noticed it. Just another small fire I didn't know she'd set with my name attached to it. Evan told me he let it go. He figured she was struggling, and at the time she made it sound like she had no one else. But after seeing everything unfold this week, he realized she had help. She just never respected it. Later that night, I got a call from an unknown number. It was a food bank. Brittany had used my number as her emergency contact for their intake form. The woman on the phone asked if I could verify her housing status and whether she was employed. I told her I couldn't help and hung up. That's when it hit me. He was out of money, out of school, out of transportation, out of places to stay, out of people to manipulate. No, he was trying to survive on scraps. But even then, she refused to say the one thing that might have started to change things. I'm sorry. Day 5 started like the others. Quiet on the surface, tense underneath. James had taken the day off to help finalize some legal paperwork for the loan Brittany had forged my name on. I thought things were finally stabilizing. I was wrong. By mid-morning, I got a text from my coworker Lacey. Just a screenshot, no message. It was a Reddit thread. Someone had posted under the title, "My sister turned our family against me after a wedding accident. Now she's trying to ruin my life." The account was brand new. No post history. The story? A twisted version of what happened at the wedding. According to her, I'd overreacted to a harmless joke, cut her off financially because I was jealous she had a better personality, and was now turning family members into flying monkeys to destroy her. The post was going viral. Even worse, she attached a photo of the dress, cropped so it looked like it was barely stained. No context. Just the implication that I'd blown it out of proportion. It was her. I knew her writing style. The overly dramatic tone. The casual name drops of people like they were supporting characters. She even mentioned Nana vaguely, saying an elderly family member got physical, as if it was just some senile episode. Comments were pouring in. Some people sided with her. Others weren't so sure. But then someone, I still don't know who, dropped a link to the original wedding video. The uncut version. The whine. The spotlight comment. The dead silence. And the slap. Everything. Suddenly the comments turned. People started calling her out. Someone said, "If that was your sister's wedding and you dumped wine on her on purpose, this isn't a joke gone wrong. You're the problem." She tried replying to defend herself. The replies got downvoted so fast she started deleting her comments. Then the post vanished completely. But it was too late. It got picked up by a small drama channel on TikTok that night. A creator named Malika, who does wedding disaster stories, posted a 2-minute breakdown with the caption, "When your sister ruins your wedding, gets slapped by grandma and still plays the victim." Over 100,000 views. That's when Brittany messaged me again. She started with insults this time. Called me a liar, a narcissist, a manipulator. Told me I'd turned the whole internet against her. That people were doxing her. That someone emailed her a photo of her dorm building and said, "Guess karma found the address." Then, total mood swing, she begged me to make a public statement clearing her name. Said if I didn't, she'd make sure everyone saw the real me. I didn't reply. But I did do one thing. I called the university. I told them about the forged cosigner document for her loan. I told them about the financial fraud, that she'd used my information without my consent. I gave them a copy of my written statement, and they confirmed what I suspected. This wasn't her first time manipulating the system. She was already on academic probation. Missed too many classes last semester. She was only still enrolled because of an appeal, and the fact that her financial aid hadn't been audited yet. That afternoon I got the email. Her enrollment was under review. A formal hearing would be held. She didn't know yet, but she would soon. That night James and I went out to dinner. A tiny place in town with soft lighting and zero social media presence. I needed silence. I needed to feel like life hadn't entirely become a soap opera. We were halfway through dessert when a woman walked up to our table. Older. Late 50s maybe. She asked if I was Kelly. I said yes slowly. She said, "I'm Brittany's professor. I saw the video. I just wanted to say, you're not wrong to walk away." Then she smiled sadly and left. I just sat there, fork in hand, completely stunned. Apparently the world was smaller than I thought. Brittany had spent years burning bridges. Now the smoke was catching up with her. By the 6th day, Brittany's world was no longer just unraveling. It was imploding. I woke up to a chain of texts from an unfamiliar number. No greeting, no explanation. Just Brittany. It was obvious. The tone swung from fury to desperation in seconds. "You did this. You're trying to ruin my life. You've always hated me. Just admit it. You think you're better than me because you got married first? Then, please. I'm begging. I'm going to lose everything. I can't afford this hearing. I'm going to get kicked out of school." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. By now she knew what was happening. The forged cosigner loan I had exposed, the academic review that followed, the campus lockout. Her tuition was now under investigation. And once that domino fell, the financial aid she had relied on, the aid I'd quietly supplemented for years, would vanish too. But what I didn't expect was what she tried next. James got pulled into it. Around noon he got called into his supervisor's office. Someone had submitted a formal complaint through the company's anonymous hotline. It accused him of emotional misconduct, potentially linked to domestic abuse. James said his stomach dropped. The accusation was vague, unsubstantiated, and clearly meant to raise questions without offering any real evidence. But HR had to follow protocol. They launched a soft investigation. Internal, nothing formal yet, but enough to rattle him. Within a few hours the report was traced back to a public IP. Someone had tried to disguise the location using a free proxy, but it failed. The origin? My mom's house. It wasn't just Brittany anymore. My mom was in on it. The HR team closed the case and even apologized for the hassle. They didn't hold it against James. But that didn't fix the damage. Not entirely. He looked at me afterward and said, "This wasn't just an attack. This was war." I didn't argue. As it was. I made 2 phone calls that afternoon. One to our lawyer, the other to my dad. The lawyer started assembling everything. We handed over the loan application, the fraudulent Venmo charge Brittany used with Evan's money, and now the attempted character sabotage at James's job. We began preparing a formal cease and desist, and if it didn't stop, we were ready to move forward with pressing charges. My dad was another story. He doesn't call much. I didn't expect him to pick up, but he did on the second ring. I told him everything. He listened quietly, then said something I hadn't heard since I was a kid. "I'm sorry I wasn't there more when you were younger. But I'm here now." And then, "You're not crazy. They made you the cleanup crew for 20 years. You don't owe them a single thing." That evening Nana called. She had been hearing the new spin Mom was pushing, that I'd set Brittany up, that I was obsessed with control. But Nana didn't believe her. Neither did the rest of the family. Apparently Mom had been going around calling relatives, trying to convince them that I'd overreacted, that Brittany was being punished for a joke, and that I was trying to look like a victim for attention. But the relatives had seen the wedding video. They remembered the slap. They remembered the silence that came after the wine hit my dress. That wasn't the moment someone made a joke. That was the moment Brittany showed everyone who she really was, and who Mom still defended. Then something else happened, something I hadn't expected. My childhood best friend Alina reached out. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. She distanced herself because of drama in the family, and I didn't blame her. But now she'd seen the clips floating around online and wanted to talk. He told me something I didn't know. Back in college, Brittany had spread a rumor that I cheated on James. I never heard about it then. It never reached me, but apparently Alina confronted her at the time. Brittany denied it and said I wasn't built for long-term relationships, and just liked attention. Alina never told me because she thought I already knew. I didn't. And in that moment I realized just how deep the rot went. This wasn't about one incident at a wedding. This was years of sabotage, manipulation, whisper campaigns, and lies, all covered with a smile. And now the only thing left for Brittany was to face the fallout. At 1:13 a.m. she messaged me. From a new number. No rage. No threats. No excuses. Just, "I need to talk. Please." It was the first thing she'd said in days that didn't sound like a trap. I stared at it for a long time. And I knew what was coming next. The apology. The real one. She showed up the next day with nothing but her keys and a small canvas tote. No makeup. No mask. Just Brittany. And for the first time in my life she looked exactly how she was, lost. No performance left to hide behind. She didn't ask to come inside. She just stood on the front steps, said my name and asked if she could talk. James was home. He asked if I wanted him to stay in the room. I told him no. I walked out, sat on the porch and waited. It took her a minute to start. Then she said it. No excuses. No, you did this first, or, but you don't understand. Just the words I never thought I'd hear. I was jealous. She said she thought life would even out, that maybe for once she'd be the one with the big moment. But then I got engaged. Then the wedding. Then the dress. And she felt like she was standing in the dark again, watching me glow. She admitted it all. The wine was deliberate. She thought it would be funny in a brutal honesty kind of way. He thought people would laugh. He thought I'd get over it because I always did. But when Nana slapped her, she realized no one was laughing. Then came the spiral. She admitted to the fake complaint against James. Said she thought if his job was threatened, I'd come crawling to Mom and try to fix it all again. She didn't think it would go that far. She said she didn't know why she thought hurting me would make her feel better. And then she said something I'll never forget. You were always the only one who showed up. Even when I made it impossible. And I still went after you. She looked down at her hands and said she lost everything. Friends. Her reputation. And somehow that still didn't scare her as much as realizing she'd finally burned the last bridge that actually mattered. I didn't say anything for a while. I just sat there. And for the first time since this whole thing started, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel like I wanted revenge. I just felt tired. Not the kind of tired you fix with sleep. The kind that comes from carrying someone else's weight for too long. Then I told her something I think surprised both of us. I forgave her. Not because she deserved it, but because I did. Because I didn't want to spend another year, another holiday, another conversation dragging her mistakes behind me like some invisible anchor. I wanted to be done. So I said it. I forgave her. But I also told her something else. That forgiveness wasn't permission. It didn't mean things would go back to how they were. It didn't mean we were close again or that I'd ever pay another bill or clean up another mess. It meant I was letting go of the need to see her punished. And that she'd have to rebuild from the ground without me. She nodded. Said she understood. Then she stood up and left without asking for anything. A week later I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. It was from Brittany. Inside was a check for $600. The money she took from Evan using my Venmo. No note. Just the check and on the envelope written in small letters. I'm starting with what I owe. It wasn't redemption. But it was something. And for once I believed her. That was the day I stopped feeling like the victim of her story. And finally felt like the author of mine.